Hello, my name is Antonella and I will be guiding you through a Hatha flow today. Hatha yoga is a slower paced style of yoga. It is slower than a vinyasa because each pose is held for 5 breaths, as opposed to a vinyasa, each pose is held for 1 to 2 breaths. So we will be staying at each pose for a longer period of time. Also wanted to mention, in Hatha yoga there was a lot of focus on the breath, and if you watched my previous video, you know how much emphasis I put at the beginning of the class with the yogic ujjayi breath. So I just like to go over that very quickly one more time. So a yogic ujjayi breath is breathing in through the nostrils, closing the back of the throat, and breathing out through the nostrils, creating the sound that the waves would make at the ocean, or as some people like to refer to it, the sound that Darth Vader makes. So let's try that. Just a few breaths, inhaling through the nose, closing the back of the throat, exhaling through the nose. Inhaling through the nose, just closing the back of the throat. This might take a little bit of practice. If you can't get it, that's fine, just breathe normally. So let's get started. We're going to start in child's pose. Taking the knees nice and wide towards the edges of the mat, allowing your sitting bones to sink towards your heels. Start off by resting your hands on your head by stacking them. And take a moment right now to notice how you feel physically and mentally. And bring your forearms to the mat and rest your forehead on the mat, taking 5 deep breaths here. Using your ujjayi yogic breath. Coming onto the hands and knees, the neutral spine transitioning into cat and cow pose. Inhaling, looking up towards the sky, arching your back, lifting your tailbone, then scooping your head down, arching the back like a dome, and tucking the tailbone. Breathing and moving with your back breath. Inhale, arch up. Exhale, arch down. Just getting the spine moving here. Getting all this spinal fluids circulating in our spinal column. Coming back to neutral spine, we can lift the right leg up with the knee bent. Your head is gazing up towards the sky. You can stay here, or you can reach your toes towards your head and then bring your knee back down, engaging your core and bringing your knee towards your forehead to touch. Moving with your breath. Inhale, knee up, head up, toe towards the head. Exhale, bring the knee down, forehead to touch the knee. Breathe. If you'd like to challenge yourself, you can come down to your forearms. You can rest your head on the mat. Really feeling the glutes and the legs activating here, and breathe. Coming back to your palms, pushing yourself back up to tabletop, all on all fours. We're going to do the same to the other side. Lifting the left leg up with the knee bent. Your gaze is up towards the sky. On the exhale, bringing that knee down and under your forehead and your knee to touch. Moving with your breath. Inhale, leg up, gaze up. Exhale, knee comes down, forehead and head come down, knee to touch the forehead. Remembering to breathe deeply. Ujjayi yogic breath. If you'd like to come down onto your forearms, bringing your forehead to the mat, engaging your glutes and really activating your legs, breathing deeply here. Coming back onto your palms, pushing yourself up, tucking your toes, lifting your knees off the mat, sending your hips all the way up towards the sky for downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Savasana. 5 deep breaths here. Keeping a micro bend in the knees, maintaining a straight spine, gazing towards your knees or your thighs. Walking 1 foot at a time towards your hands. We're going to meet in forward fold, Uttanasana. Placing your hands on the mat. You can grab your shins or you can grab opposite elbows and just sway side to side. Just breathe. Let it go, releasing. Inhale, arms up to shins for halfway lift, creating space in the spine, and just release it all back to forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhaling, arms up, coming into prayer hands, heart center. We're going to transition into chair pose, Utkatasana, bending the knees, sending your sitting bones back as if you were sitting in a chair. Shifting the weight to your heels so you will be able to wiggle your toes. You will feel burn in your glutes and in your upper thighs. Arms are up, shoulders are relaxed. Breathe. Bringing your hands to prayer center. We're going to come into twist here. Hooking your left elbow behind your right knee. Your elbows are stacked. 5 deep breaths here. If this is too intense, just release into a forward fold. Same to the left side, hooking the right elbow behind the left knee. Your elbows are stacked. Coming in for a side twist. Breathing deeply in through your nose and out through your nose. You can always release into a forward fold if you need to. Hands back to the mat. Release into forward fold, Uttanasana. Keeping a slight bend in the knees. Having your torso rest towards your quads. Inhaling your arms up. Breathe. Inhale. Exhale. Your arms back down to forward fold. Hands on your ankles, grabbing onto your feet or opposite elbows and swaying side to side. Plant your hands on the mat. Send back your right foot and your left foot. We're going to be transitioning into low plank, bringing your knees down to the mat. Your forearms and your palms are resting on the mat. Start by inhaling 1 leg at a time. Bringing one knee up, bringing it down, and bringing your other knee up. The next level would be to inhale both legs up. Breathe deeply. 5 deep breaths here. If this is too intense, you can always go back to one knee at a time. If you'd like to challenge yourself, lift your right leg up. Finding your edge. Lift your left leg up. Really challenging yourself here, really feeling the burn. Breathe. Releasing both knees back to the mat. Coming into child's pose. Hips sinking towards the mat, your forehead on the mat, or it can be stacked on your hands. Take a moment right now to notice how you feel. Breathe. Our bodies open up physically and energetically when we breathe into the pose, rather than forcing ourselves into the pose. Yoga is all about breath. Tucking the toes, lifting the knees and the hips up back to downward facing dog, spreading your fingers nice and wide, having a slight bend in the knees. Your gaze is towards your knees or your quads. Lifting your right leg up for 3-legged dog. Breathe. Bringing that right knee to your right wrist and dropping it. You can check your back leg to straighten it. Your fingertips are on the mat. Breathe here, nice and high in king pigeon pose. Bringing all the oxygen to your hips, opening your hips and releasing the tightness with each exhale. You can come down to your forearms. Notice how you feel. You can stack your hands and rest your head here, or you can extend your arms forward, bringing your forehead to the mat for sleeping pigeon. 5 deep breaths here. Bringing your palms back to the mat, tucking the back toe under, sending the right leg back for downward facing dog. Lifting the left leg up, 3-legged dog. Swinging that left knee down towards your left wrist and dropping it. Now your knee can be set at any angle here. Doesn't have to be parallel to the front of the mat. It could be on an angle. That's totally fine. Check your back leg, make sure it's straight. Fingertips to the mat, breathe. And come down onto your forearms. Stack your hands, rest your head, and breathe. Sending all that oxygen to your hips, releasing any tension and tightness that you have in your hips. Extending the arms forward if you'd like to come into sleeping pigeon, resting your forehead on the mat. Just melting into this pose. Our body opens up so much more when we just breathe into the pose. Swing your right leg forward. We're going to come into seated forward fold. Removing any extra flesh from your sitting bones, grounding your sitting bones into the mat. Inhaling the arms up, creating space in the spine, hinging at the hips. Just lean forward. You can be grabbing onto your shins, your ankles, your feet. Breathe. Five deep breaths here. Slowly walking your hands up your leg. We're going to cross the right leg over the left leg. Placing your right hand behind your sitting bones for support. Inhale, left arm up and cross the elbow behind the knee. Starting the twist from your lower ribs, giving all your internal organs a massage. Twists are very detoxifying and beneficial for the organs. Your gaze is over your right shoulder. Just breathe. We're going to come in for a counter twist, turning and bowing the hands to the mat on the left. We're now going to cross the left leg over the right. Left arm behind our sitting bones for support. We're going to hook the right elbow behind the left knee. Starting the twist at your lower ribs and gazing over towards your left shoulder. Coming in for a counter stretch, turning and bowing the hands to the mat on the right. Transitioning into boat pose, Navasana. Bringing the tips of your toes to the mat, leaning back into a V shape. Start lifting your toes up and off the mat, raising your arms and hands to the side. Breathe. Using your Ujjayi yogic breath. Engaging your core, feeling your strength. Bringing your feet back down to the mat. We're now going to come down and lie down on our backs. Bringing our right knee up, interlacing the fingers behind our knee on our shins, coming into wind reliever pose. Both feet are flexed. Inhale to prepare and exhale. Squeeze the knee closer towards the chest. On the inhale, release a bit, and on the exhale, try to squeeze the knee in a little closer to the chest, moving with your breath. Coming onto your left side, interlacing the fingers around your shins. On the exhale, squeeze the knee towards the chest. On the inhale, release. Move with your breath. Bringing the soles of the feet to the mat. We're going to transition into bridge pose, bringing your heels close to your sitting bones so you can touch your heels with your hands. Inhale to prepare, and on the exhale, lift the hips up. The palms can be on the mat, or you can interlace the fingers behind the back, rolling the shoulders back. Taking 5 deep breaths here. If you'd really like to challenge yourself, try lifting your right leg up, breathing deeply. And raising your left leg up. Breathe. Release the hands, lower your spine back down to the mat, 1 vertebrae at a time. We're going to get into our final pose, Shavasana, extending your legs forward. Your toes are pointing towards the edges of your mat. Your hips are heavy and relaxed on the mat. Your shoulders are relaxed and away from your ears. Your palms can be facing upward for receiving or downward for grounding. Take a moment to notice how you feel. Always take the time for Shavasana. Stay here as long as you want. take in all the energy you worked up in today's practice. Shavasana is where all the magic happens. Namaste.